Thomas Sowell. I have several videos of him in my to watch list, but I haven't watched any of them yet for the channel. I've seen other videos of him, and I have a feeling that some of the stuff I've got saved in my to watch list are things that I have seen before, maybe in the compilation or just little short clips or whatever. So whenever I watch other things of his for the channel, I'll try to remember to leave that disclaimer. But anyway, I wanted to check out one more video before I called it quits for today. I've been filming quite a bit tonight, but I didn't want something that was going to be really long. But I also wasn't in the mood for comedy because I've already watched some comedic stuff. This video is a little bit more than 3 minutes long. I don't know what he's going to say in here, but the title of the video is Thomas Sowell's Ultimate Mic Drop Moment. I don't know. Thomas Sowell, he really packs a punch, this guy. I admire him so much, and I wish that more people paid attention to him. Anyway, let's just go ahead and dive right into it and see what we're in for.
The things that they thought were going to help did not help, and in many cases, made things much worse.
Is he talking about government? Government intrusion.
Thomas Sowell is a very private person. Despite having so much of his work put before the public, he's reluctant to give interviews and has been known to make journalists wait years before sitting down to talk about his life and work. But a colleague of mine took the time to get Tom to appear on his show.
I'm Dave Rubin. I'm the host of The Rubin Report.
Oh.
That's right back behind me here in my home. I do a long-form interview show.
Okay.
Everybody was saying, you've got to talk to Thomas Sowell. You've got to talk to Thomas Sowell. And we tried for about 3 or 4 years to hunt him down. And finally, we were able to interview him.
One of the things that I found out that was sort of amazing about your history, you briefly mentioned it right before we started. You were a Marxist at one time in your life.
I did know that about him. Oh, Chibi. Come here, little girl. Come over here. I know she wants to get up here. Hold on, sorry. Now she's going to walk. There you go, my baby girl. Now I got to rearrange my camera. Okay, sorry about that. My youngest dog decided she wanted to sit in my lap, so I had to push my desk away and then pull it back and then make sure the camera was still on my face and not on the wall. Okay, so yes, what I was going to say is I knew that about Thomas Sowell, that he was a Marx, and I can't remember what he said. Maybe this is where he's going to say why it was that he snapped out of it. Thank God, right? But I can't remember what he said. Either he is it something like he grew up, or he read facts, or so. I can't recall. I'm just going to shut up and let's go right into it.
You briefly mentioned it right before we started. You were a Marxist at one time in your life. Most people will find this hard to believe, but it is true.
But it's not that unusual. Right. Most of the leading conservative thinkers of our time did not start off as conservative. You had a couple like Bill Buckley and George Will. But I mean, Milton Friedman was a liberal and a Keynesian. Ronald Reagan was so far left, at one point the FBI was following him.
Do you remember sort of what you were thinking, what appealed to you at that time about Marxism?
Yes, I mean, there was no alternative being discussed.
Right.
I treated my interview with him as Thomas Sowell 101.
That's right. There still isn't, for the most part, if he's talking about in academia, it's dominated by left-wing, far left-wing intellectuals, and they are just cramming their ideology into the heads of, impressionable young adults. And that's not any different than it was back then. I mean, it's amazing when anybody can walk away from that and, completely separate themselves from that indoctrination that goes on, unfortunately. It's very bad.
I treated my interview with him as Thomas Sowell 101. I wanted it to be for the new generation of young people who watch YouTube, who listen to podcasts.
My first job was as a Western Union messenger. So I would take the Fifth Avenue bus.
a little
It
familiar
would go
to
all the
me.
way up Fifth Avenue, past all these Lord and Taylor and all these fancy places. And then I would cross 57th Street, down Riverside Drive.
Wow,
And then
those
as I
cars.
came across this long viaduct that turned into 135th Street, suddenly there were the tenements. And I wondered, why is this? It's so different. And nothing in the schools or most of the books seem to deal with that. And Marx dealt with that.
There's an absolutely beautiful moment where I ask him about his own political evolution.
So then what was your wake up to what was wrong with that line of thinking?
Facts.
I love
Yes, that's what it was. That's what I remembered. I have seen this clip. Now, as it was proceeding more and more into it, I was like, this is familiar. And yeah, I have seen him say that. That is a beautiful mic drop moment right there. Yeah, I love that.
What was wrong with that line of thinking?
Facts.
I love that moment. I mean, I knew the second
Facts.
he did it, I was like,
Oh,
we got our clip. That's as good as it gets. And it gets to, what does this man care about most? Does he care about how he feels about things?
yeah.
How he wants the world to be, or how is the world as it is? Because that's what he's saying. I care about facts. The world is a certain way, and now, using that as the baseline, we can try to figure out how to make things better.
Okay, that was brilliant. Nice little clip. That's, there was a video I was filming earlier today. It was the one with Theo Vaughn and Jordan Peterson. And I was talking about why I'm drawn to people like that, because they seem to be so rational, logical, commonsensical. And also, that kind of ties into what Thomas Sowell was saying, facts. So one of the reasons that I feel like I click so well with people like that, or like let's say the interview that I had with 𝐂𝐇𝐀𝐏𝐄𝐑𝐒, I mean, the things that she was saying, it mimics very closely the way that I think. A lot of times when I've been online, let's say debating people on different social media platforms, years ago, and sometimes even still today, but I don't really spend too much time nowadays on other platforms beyond YouTube is the one I'm on the most. I like it better here. But when I would engage in debate with people online, and if they couldn't see a picture of me, like let's say I just had an avatar or whatever up, they would assume that I was a man. I can't remember if I mentioned this before, but they would assume that I was a man because I wasn't responding to them in a very emotional way. I was countering what they were saying with logic and with facts and, common sense, or at least, that's what I feel like I was doing. And they would assume that I was a guy. And they would assume that I didn't care about things because I wasn't getting all emotional about stuff. And 𝐂𝐶𝐀 has talked about that before. I think she talked about that in one of her recent videos, where how she was accused of being cold and unfeeling because she's so rational and logical. And see, that's the scary thing, is that so many people are ruled by their emotions. And just because saying what I'm saying doesn't mean things don't get to me. Doesn't mean I don't feel emotional about certain things. I do. Everybody, you're not human if you don't. But I try not to let my my thought process be dictated solely by emotion. Because I know that when you let yourself be led by emotion, you are easily misled. Which is happening, as I mentioned in my other video, it's happening a crap ton today. Look in the media, look in the news, and you see how people are being misled by their narrative, which is very often a false one. They misrepresent facts, they misconstrue reality, they mislead people, they pit people against each other. And because so many people are emotional creatures, they very easily fall into that trap. It's frustrating to witness. There's my emotion. It's frustrating to witness people being like that because I see in things like that, it's a very dangerous way to be going. Because then you have things like the mob mentality that builds up. And we've had plenty of that going on the past year plus. And it could just causes so much destruction and chaos and mayhem. It's just, it's awful. And people, when they get in that mindset, they don't care about facts. Facts are unimportant. They just care about the narrative that they want to push. They care about what they want to believe. And if they find out that what they want to believe isn't accurate, well, they just completely disregard that. And they act like it's not even there or a thing. And they continue to spout off things that aren't true. I see that over and over and over again. And that is, I don't see anything good coming from something like that. And I really wish to hell it would stop, that people would actually snap out of it. You know, like I said, to me, it feels like it's very rare that people can go from one extreme to the other. It happens. I know it does. And no, not one extreme to the other, but let's say one extreme, like he was a Marxist. To me, that's very extreme. Yeah. He went from that to kind of the polar opposite, but not necessarily extreme. He's not extremist at all. And if anybody says that he is, they're lying through their face. He's not extremist. He's just fact-based. He looks at information and then his conclusions about things, that's how they're formulated, through facts. And I wish we had more people like this in the public sphere, instead of people like what we very often get, who just kind of are like evil Pied Pipers, leading people along to just awfulness. You guys know what I'm talking about. I mean, it can be applied to anything, but almost anything. But you see the way things are around us these days. It's not good. But anyway, well, this was anyway, repeating myself. I have to edit myself sometimes. When I edit, I do try to remove a lot of the ums and ahs and yeah. This was interesting. I will check out more of his stuff. It's just, it's kind of heavy stuff. So that's probably one of the reasons why I haven't delved into Thomas Sowell stuff too much yet. I have touched on Jordan Peterson, and his is heavy too. Thomas Sowell is also kind of, he's right there for me with Jordan Peterson. But Jordan Peterson kind of, he deals with other types of things, like, let's say, relationship dynamics and stuff like that. And Thomas Sowell is all about things like socioeconomic issues and political ideology and things like that. And that can be even more touchy than the stuff that Jordan Peterson talks about. So, I don't necessarily want to be opening up a Pandora's box. And like I've said many times before, that's not what this channel is going to be about. But I am drawn to this. And so I am trying to let my emotion lead the way. What a contradiction. No, what I meant by that is I'm trying to let my interest lead the way for the things that I watch. But more often than not, it's not going to lead into super serious subject matter, even though a lot of the comedy stuff I do check out can touch on super serious stuff. Yeah, it just happens. But anyway, that's like the fourth or fifth time I've said that word. But I think that's it for this. I'm going to close down shop for the evening. I don't know that I'm going to be this productive tomorrow, but my goodness, I've filmed quite a bit. Hopefully I'll have the same level of energy tomorrow. We'll see. Okay, you guys. Later.